1996 Lakewood 223. 3-speed, 20-inch box fan. This is a 3rd gen Lakewood, as you can tell by the skinnier, I think they're often referred to as the banana blades. They kind of curve like that. Now interestingly, this being a 3rd gen Lakewood, it doesn't have the blade hub sitting right up against the back of the front grille. I'm not sure if it was the earlier 3rd gens where maybe the motor was thicker or the blade was thicker or something with the offset, but some of them, the blade hub sits merely like a tiny fraction of an inch behind the front grille. And sometimes due to age, when the grille kind of sinks in, the blade hub actually wears a circular slot into the front grille because the tolerance is so small. But this thing's got a hefty, at least an inch of space from the front, so that's kind of interesting. It almost looks like the blades are sitting too far back from certain angles. Anyways, handle is intact. Something might have been there, I'm not sure what exactly it was. Front grille looks perfect, no missing slats. And there is absolutely no rust in the cabinet. Got the mount for the stand, which has not been punched out. And this is I don't know how much, but maybe 5 inches or so. This is about as thin as box fans should have ever gotten. Nowadays, fans are even thinner, and even with feet, they're not super stable. And the back. So at first glance, it looks pretty darn good, right? But unfortunately, it's not the case. You look a little closer, and you will see that the plastic is actually crumbling due to the deterioration caused by UV or the sun. And to make it worse, it actually comes off on my fingernail as dust. And I'm not even scratching hard. I'm very gently grazing my fingernail across it, and there's dust coming off on my hand. So this is not really salvageable. At least it's not missing any slats, it's intact, but this corner especially, it's really bad, and it gets a little better as you go to this corner. As you can see, it looks pretty nice here, but that's pretty unfortunate. That's probably due to the fan sitting in the window for many, many months and years. So it is what it is, but I'm gonna try to see if I can locate a replacement grille. It's not so much the edges, just the slats themselves. We got a later style Macmillan motor with the skinnier vents. Still has the oil port. There is something there. It does say May of 1996 on the back there. And some information, 2.1 amps. Let's check out the info on the bottom. Let's see. So this is a 223. I'm not sure if the DP is part of the model number, or if that is something else. Lakewood Engineering and Manufacturing Company in Chicago, Illinois. And as you can see, this is where the other foot would have been. No longer with us. I imagine it just snapped off or fell off at some point. Box fan feet never tend to be the most durable part on these things. Okay, let's go ahead and plug this in and give it a test run. Let's go ahead and start it up on, we'll start with a low this time. The switch is extremely stiff and squeaky. The contacts need to be cleaned out. And pardon me if I sound a little off today. I'm a bit congested. Alright, so there's the low speed. It's a very modest low. It's not exactly one of those super quiet second-gen low speed where it's barely audible, but it's pretty mild, stirring up a nice draft in the room. I think this is the perfect speed to use if you want a good bedside fan, because it has a nice bit of noise to it. It's a nice constant drone, and it also stirs up a good amount of air, but not too much. So I like it. It's a very functional yet slow enough of a low speed. I've always liked the hub design on these Lakewoods, especially the first, second, and third gens with that ring of rectangular slats that they cut out in the first gen, and in the second gen they just had one single hole. In the third gen they're all blocked but still recessed. I don't think they really serve a purpose, but they look cool. Ooh, that is a smooth fan. I don't feel any vibration coming from it. Medium. So notice how big of a jump it is from the low speed. Now this is starting to move some good amount of air. The sound is pleasant to listen to. Moving a good amount of air. Comparing this to my second gen K223, well, first of all, that K223 has an unusually fast motor, but comparing the speeds, like in terms of the RPM versus the amount of airflow, I think the second gens do move more air. Which, I mean, it's kind of to be expected. The earlier ones were more powerful. But these third gens actually do very well, considering they are thinner and they also have skinnier blades. I'm not sure about the pitch difference, but I think the blades themselves are also shallower too. And they don't sound annoying like a lot of newer box fans, so all things considered, these third gens are really good fans. There it is on full speed. So I do like that this fan has a very distinct separation between each of the speeds. Surprisingly not as powerful as I expected on high. It really spreads out the air quite a bit. Like, I'm standing off axis from where the fan is, but I can feel the air coming out this way as well. And directly in front of it, there's not a strong beam of air coming out. It dissipates very quickly. Which actually might be a good thing if you're using this in a window, because it circulates the air immediately into the room. Which is probably why this fan was used in the window, and the back grille is all deteriorated. Yeah, on high speed it shakes a little bit, but not enough for it to start walking itself across the table. Oh goodness. Hear that? Yeah, not the best sound. That's like the fan collector's equivalent of nails going across the chalkboard. Good spin down. I mean, these Lakewood Macmillan motors were very well lubricated from the factory. Before we go, let's check out if this thing has any startup sound. I think I might have heard one, but here it is on low. Not really. And usually if it doesn't have one on low, it doesn't really have one on any of the other speeds. Alright, well that is the Lakewood 223 from 1996. Man, I really wish the back grille wasn't so deteriorated, because Other than that, this is a near mint fan. And this is also my first 3rd gen. I have a 1st gen Electro Home rebadge, and then a 2nd gen K223, and now I have a Lakewood 3rd gen 223. Alright guys, well in the future I'll revisit this fan once again, and we'll get this thing cleaned up, and I'll go through the motor, and of course tune up the switch. Desperately needs that. But until then, that's gonna be it for this one. So thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.